7 creatures you won't believe actually exist. Welcome, fellow adventurers and curious minds, to another jaw-dropping exploration of the strange and bizarre world we live in. Now, when you think about the animal kingdom, you probably picture the majestic lion, the playful dolphin, or maybe a fluffy bunny hopping through a meadow. But what if I told you that the world is home to creatures so bizarre, so extraordinary, that they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about nature? Well, today, we're diving deep into the wildest corners of the earth to uncover 7 of the most mind-blowing animals you won't believe actually exist. These creatures are so strange. It's like something straight out of science fiction or a fantasy novel. So, sit back, grab some popcorn, and let's get started with the first animal on our list. 1. The axolotl, the Mexican walking fish. Let's kick things off with a creature that might just seem like a character from a magical storybook. The axolotl, native to lakes near Mexico City. The axolotl is a type of salamander that spends its entire life in the water, which means it never goes through the usual life cycle stages of most amphibians. Unlike other amphibians, it doesn't undergo complete metamorphosis, meaning it keeps its juvenile features, including its external gills, throughout its life. But here's where it gets truly mind-boggling. Axolotls have the incredible ability to regenerate entire body parts. We're talking limbs, spinal cords, heart tissue, even parts of their brain. Imagine that you lose a leg and it just grows back like nothing ever happened. Not only do they regenerate limbs, but they can also repair major organs. In fact, some researchers are studying axolotls for clues about human regeneration. If we could figure out how to unlock their regenerative powers, it could have huge implications for medicine. But the axolotl is also an endangered species. Pollution, habitat loss, and invasive species have caused their numbers to dwindle, so they're now found mostly in captivity, though conservation efforts are underway. 2. The tardigrade, nature's immortal survivor. Next up, we have a creature so resilient. It can survive some of the most extreme conditions on Earth. Enter the tardigrade, also known as the water bear. If you've never heard of it before, you might be shocked to learn that these microscopic creatures have survived the vacuum of space, intense radiation, and even boiling temperatures. Tardigrades are tiny, measuring less than a millimeter in length, but what they lack in size, they more than make up for in survival skills. These little creatures are almost indestructible. When faced with harsh conditions, such as extreme heat, cold, or dehydration, tardigrades enter a state called cryptobiosis. In this state, they essentially shut down all of their metabolic functions and can survive without water for decades, even centuries. Scientists have revived tardigrades after exposing them to the vacuum of space for over a decade. When rehydrated, they spring back to life like nothing ever happened. It's still not entirely clear how they do it, but some researchers believe that the tardigrade's ability to survive such extreme conditions could hold the key to unlocking new ways to preserve biological matter or even space travel in the future. But for now, they remain one of nature's greatest mysteries. 3. The ii, a creepy yet fascinating primate. Now, let's talk about one of the creepiest creatures on the planet. The ii. Hailing from Madagascar, this nocturnal primate might look like something straight out of a horror movie, but it's actually an incredible, albeit strange, survivor. The ii has a very peculiar way of hunting for food. It uses its extraordinarily long middle finger, sometimes up to 3 times the length of its other fingers, to tap on tree trunks, listen for vibrations that indicate the presence of insects, and then uses that finger to extract the prey. It's one of the most bizarre methods of foraging in the animal kingdom, and it's so strange that the ii has been misunderstood by local populations. In fact, many Malagasy people consider the ii to be an omen of death, and in some areas they have been killed on sight because of this superstition. However, scientists have recognized the ii's critical role in maintaining the health of Madagascar's unique ecosystem by controlling insect populations, particularly in forests where pests might otherwise destroy the delicate balance of plant life. Despite its essential role, the ii is listed as near threatened due to habitat loss and human persecution. 4. The Goblin Shark, the deep-sea nightmare. If you've ever imagined a creature so terrifying that it belongs in the deepest, darkest part of the ocean, then you've probably been thinking about the Goblin Shark. Known for its bizarre, protruding snout and freaky feeding habits, the Goblin Shark is often called the living fossil of the deep sea. It's been around for over 100 million years, and it looks like something straight out of a prehistoric nightmare. This rare species of deep-sea shark has a long, flat, and pinkish snout, with a set of teeth that can extend outward from its jaw to grab prey. The Goblin Shark's jaw is capable of extending dramatically, allowing it to snatch up prey from a distance with terrifying speed. These sharks usually live deep below the surface in waters around 100 to 1,200 meters deep, so encounters with humans are extremely rare. But when they are spotted, they often send chills down the spine, thanks to their unusual appearance. While not considered a threat to humans, the Goblin Shark's eerie look and freakish feeding habits make it one of the ocean's most terrifying creatures. 5. The Narwhal, the unicorn of the sea. Next, we have a creature that might just make you believe in unicorns. Meet the Narwhal, a whale that has captivated the imagination of sailors, scientists, and artists for centuries. With its long, spiraling tusk protruding from its forehead, the Narwhal is often referred to as a unicorn of the sea. But here's the twist. That tusk isn't some magical horn. It's actually a tooth, and it can grow up to 10 feet long. The tusk is found only in males, and its purpose has long been a subject of mystery. While some scientists believe the tusk may help with mate selection, with the largest tusk being a sign of strength or health, others speculate it might be used in social interactions, or even in sensing changes in the water's temperature and salinity. Narwhals are found in the Arctic, where they live in remote waters and are adapted to life in icy conditions. Despite their somewhat mystical appearance, narwhals are facing threats due to climate change, as the melting ice affect their habitat and food sources. Still, they remain one of the most unique and iconic creatures in the ocean. 6. The pangolin, the scaly mystery. The pangolin might look like something out of fairy tale, but this shy and elusive creature is a real-life enigma. Native to Asia and Africa, pangolins are the only mammals entirely covered in scales, made of keratin, the same material found in human nails and hair. They look like walking pine cones, and their main form of defense is to curl into a tight ball, with their hard, armor-like scales protecting them from predators. But as cute as they may seem, pangolins are facing one of the most dire situations of any species on Earth. They're the most trafficked mammal in the world, as their scales are used in traditional medicine, and their meat is considered a delicacy in some cultures. In fact, all 8 species of pangolins are currently at risk of extinction, despite their popularity on the black market. Pangolins play an important ecological role by controlling insect populations, particularly ants and termites. Without them, ecosystems could be thrown out of balance. Conservation efforts are ongoing, but the pangolin remains one of the most endangered creatures on the planet. 7. The okapi, nature's best-kept secret. Finally, we come to one of the most elusive and surprising creatures on Earth, the okapi, often described as nature's best-kept secret. The okapi looks like a cross between a giraffe and a zebra, but it's actually more closely related to the giraffe. With its long neck and striking, zebra-like legs, the okapi roams the dense rainforests of Central Africa, mostly in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Despite being relatively large, up to 2.5 meters long and 1.5 meters tall, the okapi was unknown to the Western world until the early 20th century. In fact, it wasn't until 1901 that a specimen was brought to the attention of scientists, despite local tribes knowing of its existence for centuries. Okapis are solitary creatures that are very hard to spot, as their dark, velvety coats help them blend into the thick forest. They are primarily herbivores, feeding on leaves, fruits,